What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Evan and I make videos about hot stocks, dividends, and options. So if that interests you guys, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload. Now, in today's video, we're going to go over NIO's earnings, which are actually going to be reported tomorrow. So we're going to go over what you can kind of expect going in tomorrow's trading day and then also into Wednesday. We're also going to cover some of the key factors that have led to where NIO is right now in the quarter and some of the major things that came out in quarter 3 that have really helped drive up the price of NIO. But before we jump into it, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, it really does help out the channel and it lets me know that you guys are enjoying these NIO updates every weekday. So if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. But with that out of the way, you can see NIO is up just over 1% today, and they've been pretty flat most of the trading day. They haven't really had big spikes or drops. And if you guys saw my video last Friday, you know that there was a big short seller that put out a price prediction actually at $25 for NIO. Now, there's a lot of people complaining that he's very fraudulent and he's just doing it for his own gain. Now, I also mentioned that in my video, and I mentioned that it's very possible that he could be saying such a low price just to get NIO to drop, and then he can secure some gains as NIO's going down because he's shorting it. But even with that $25 price forecast, where he's basically saying that NIO's not worth anywhere close to where they're trading at, well, even with that, NIO is still at $45, and they did drop quite a bit because of that price forecast, but they're really not down that much. I mean, if we look at the 1 week, you can see NIO is up 1.4%, and they did spike up pretty high, and right here where they hit $53.94, and I think they actually hit over $54, this was Friday morning when actually Li Auto's earnings came out, and we saw the entire electric vehicle market spike up pretty high, and then this short seller for NIO, he put out his price prediction, and then we saw NIO drop, and we saw a lot of other EV stocks drop as well throughout the rest of that trading day. But looking at the 1 week, you can see obviously NIO's really not down. They're actually up, and they're not doing too bad even with that $25 price target that kind of hindered NIO and other EV stocks last Friday. I think at their lowest, NIO was down around 14% on Friday, but they're not doing too bad this week. And comparing NIO to the overall market, the market is up almost 1% this week, with SPY trading at $361, which is pretty good for SPY. And they opened high this morning, and they've kind of maintained that 1% gain on the day for most of the day. And now looking at the 1 week on SPY, they're up 2%. And obviously comparing last Friday to NIO, you can see that SPY, they went up pretty high, and the overall market was up high on Friday. But of course, we saw the EV market drop because of that short seller's price forecast. But then again today, SPY is up higher than they were Friday, and NIO and the rest of the EV market is doing pretty decent as well. But now I want to transition over to what you should watch out for when NIO reports their earnings tomorrow. Now it says that NIO is set to report their third quarter earnings after market close on Tuesday. So keep that in mind tomorrow. Originally, I thought NIO was going to report their third quarter earnings pre-market or before the market opens on Tuesday, but it says here it's after the market closes. Now I'm not really sure because I've read on both sides, but if it is after market, we probably won't notice big movements tomorrow, though we could with people anticipating the earnings coming out. But if earnings are after market tomorrow, we're going to see those big movements on Wednesday, whether NIO goes up or down depending on how their earnings come out. Now it says here that the consensus view of Wall Street analysts polled by Thomson Reuters is that NIO will report a loss of 17 cents per share on revenue of $653 million. And if you compare that to third quarter of 2019, they actually had a loss of 35 cents per share. And so that's a big improvement year over year, and their revenue was $257 million. So that's nearly triple the revenue and a big improvement on the losses per share. But now to kind of look over some of the big things that NIO has done in third quarter alone, starting with their deliveries, NIO delivered 12,206 vehicles in third quarter, which represents a 154% increase from third quarter of 2019. Now, the only month that was lower was July, and this was due to parts shortages. But obviously we saw them bounce back in August and then again in September. And of course in October, but October doesn't count for third quarter. So I'm really going to be interested to see fourth quarter earnings. But we're just talking about third quarter here. And each month, month after month was better than the last other than July. And they really weren't down that low in July either. And NIO also took advantage of their super high stock price, and they sold 88.5 million new shares in August. And in turn, this raised $1.7 billion. And of that 1.7, NIO used 1.1 of it to buy back some equity that they gave up in a bailout. And I believe that happened in May. And then another thing is that they've been leveraging their network of automated battery swap stations, and they actually launched their battery as a service. And if you guys don't know what that is, or you haven't heard about it, which I'm sure you guys have, but this basically allows a customer to buy a NIO vehicle, but they don't include the price of the battery. You basically lease the battery with a subscription service, and so you're paying each month to have this battery. But in turn, the positive part about this is that the customer saves around 20% on the cost of the NIO vehicle that they're buying. Because as you guys probably know, a battery is the most expensive part of an electric vehicle. So if you can reduce that initial price, obviously these customers are going to be more willing to buy a vehicle, especially the younger generation of car owners. And one of the last big things that happened in Q3 for NIO was their newest model, the EC6, which they actually began delivering. And it was very timely because they expected it to begin in September, and that's exactly what happened. Now, if you guys are going to be tuning into Q3 earnings for NIO, or you're not sure kind of what to keep an eye out for, the four main things are cost, their battery as a service, their cash, and any new models that they're expecting to produce. So starting with the costs, obviously we've seen NIO's production and deliveries ramp up quite a bit in the last several months. But the thing that you should make sure you listen for is if the costs have kind of stayed the same or whether they've gone up or down. Now, it would be a good thing to see NIO leveraging these production levels and kind of keeping costs down if they can, because the higher the costs, obviously the less profit, which means in the next few quarters, it's going to take a lot longer for NIO to become profitable. So definitely watch out for the costs. Now, for the battery as a service, we want to know whether this is actually helping NIO or if it's costing them more because they're not getting as much upfront for the vehicles. And we also want to know whether it's popular and it's something customers are actually choosing, because if customers aren't really choosing this as an option, it's probably not going to be around for long. So that's definitely something to watch out for and to see how many people are actually using this service. Now, of course, you also want to watch the cash that NIO has and what they've been doing with their cash. Because if you guys didn't know, NIO actually came pretty close to bankruptcy earlier in the year, and last December they didn't know if they'd have enough cash to make it through the year. They sort of got revived, to say, by a bailout, and apparently they had $1.6 billion in cash at the end of June, but we want to know how much was left at the end of September, and what they plan to spend their cash on over the coming quarters. And the last thing, the new models that I mentioned, we know that they're going to be releasing a new model because they've already kind of mentioned it, and they're going to be officially releasing it on NIO Day, which is in January. Now, I'm not sure exactly what this vehicle is called, whether it's the ET7 or the EE7. I've heard people call it both names, so I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but we want to watch out for when they're going to begin delivering this newer vehicle. But with all those things in mind, you're probably still kind of wondering what you can expect with NIO earnings coming up tomorrow. And I think some people, especially very bearish people, are expecting a pullback because NIO, obviously, they're not going to report any profit because they're still not profitable. And they're still reporting a loss on their shares. But I think considering it's a big improvement from Q3 of 2019, personally, I think NIO is going to go up on this news from their earnings. Now, there's likely going to be some kind of pullbacks here and there, but you can just look at last Friday as an example. We saw that big price prediction, or I should say that small price prediction from that big short seller, and he said NIO is worth $25. Now, obviously, NIO pulled back, but they didn't pull back too much. They're still trading at $45. So I think you should consider the fact that NIO will pull back at certain points because they are very high. But in terms of earnings, personally, I think NIO is going to go up from their earnings report. But for those of you who made it this far into the video, what do you guys think NIO is going to do after earnings are reported? Do you think they're going to shoot up or kind of stay the same, or do you think they're going to drop? Let me know what you guys think is going to happen to NIO after they report their earnings. Lastly, if you guys haven't signed up for Webull, make sure you sign up using the link in the description. When you sign up and deposit $100, you'll get 3 free stocks now. And this promotion ends soon, so make sure you guys sign up and get your free stocks. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like because it really does help out the channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you back here in the next one. Bye.